by now, you've seen this. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I can believe it. I guess I didn't want to believe it. I guess even my wife brought up what they're doing with the Star Wars movie, the Rey movie, and the director. And then to get this news right after Mandalorian and Grogu, but a Star Wars film from Jon Favreau, and then the Ahsoka season 2 is confirmed. That's, I guess there's pieces of this is what's surprising, right? It talks about the broken ground with the live action series, but now Mandalorian and Grogu are making their way to the big screen in the upcoming Star Wars film titled, wait for it, The Mandalorian and Grogu. Sorry, let's make that bigger. Let's make sure everyone can suffer with me. That is absolutely, are you kidding me? God, this thing will not go away. The Mandalorian and Grogu. Kid you not. That actually went one too big, didn't it? The new Mando film, which will be directed by Jon Favreau, produced Kathleen Kennedy, Dave Filoni. This is in addition to the Star Wars celebration movie we just talked about. Quote, I have loved telling stories set in a rich world that George Lucas created, he said in a statement. The prospect of bringing the Mandalorian and his apprentice, Grogu, to the big screen is extremely exciting. Is it exciting? Does that excite you? Are you excited? I mean, really, are you excited? Is there anything about what you have seen in Mando season? Well, first off, let's just at the end of season 2, when they wrap up the story arc, and you were good with Grogu, right? And then what they did with Book of Boba Fett, what they did in Mando season 3, does that make you not only want more of them, but you want them in a movie format? The only saving grace is that's more like 90 minutes to 2 hours instead of a 6 to 8 episode drawn out story arc of nothingness. Oh my gosh, this is so wet fart dead. This is so bad. It talks about going into production next year. Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni have ushered into Star Wars 2 new beloved characters. This new story is a perfect fit for the big screen. Oh gosh. Okay, I love the fact that Entertainment Weekly put Ahsoka as like the byline. Ahsoka is so small, it's now been reduced to the byline. Look at that. There. And by the way, if these shows are so popular and if there's remotely any fan interest at all in any of this stuff, why did none of this come up in conversation at the end of the year list when we had 223, the best of 2023? Were there any lists that had Mandalorian and Ahsoka on them that are on the good lists? But then it gets even worse because it's like, buried in the announcement was word that Filoni is currently developing Ahsoka Season 2. That's right. That's right, because you didn't see enough girls standing around with like resting sad face and their arms crossed, resting mad face. Wow. Okay, so this was EW's Dagobah Dispatch podcast. Everyone at this point is a let's circle back at the end of the year kind of thing, and I'm like, oh, thank God, because I need a moment to keep taking all this in and seeing the reaction before I think about jumping into it again, which I hope we get to. What's there to think about, Rosario? What's there to think about? What reaction? Us mocking how badly trained you are, how unathletic they let you get away with jump scenes where they didn't use stunt doubles and stuff properly, the bland version of the character that you brought to the screen, that the fact that the flashback coma dream sequence to the battles with the child version of Ahsoka is 10 times more emotive than your character was? Is that what you need time to digest on? I think maybe. With so many Star Wars movies in the works, I didn't know there were so many. Let's open that up and look at that. And it's talking about the Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy Jedi story. It's talking about a Lando movie. It's talking about a Taika Waititi. That's never happening. Yeah, we can mark that one off the list. Taika's not doing a movie. That's not happening. Let me see if there's is there any other stuff in this other article, this link they talk about? Obviously, the news right now is this Marvel, Sharmeen Chinoy, this whole thing about her getting the Rey movie or whatever, this whole, you know, Star Wars Celebration nonsense and all that. But it said I was excited to start a movie. Then it's like it's listing other stuff that has been done, but I didn't see there's other stuff in the works. So yeah, because this is all like outdated film projects. This is like Patty Jenkins on Rogue Squadron. Kevin Feige, he's not doing a movie. He said no, he's out. He's not doing that. This is almost like outdated information. So shame on you, EW. You have people who are not up to speed on what's going on. But I don't know, guys. What is your take on how dead Star Wars is to you now? 'Cause other than Star Wars Day, I haven't enjoyed any Star Wars. Like I watched for this channel, I watched Mando and Ahsoka, but it was I literally wasn't even a priority. Like no one cared. After about 4 or 5 episodes, there were no normies talking about it. There was no real buzz. It was sort of like, it's on. And then of course it ends in such a generic, non-interesting way. They have things that happen off camera that were important that you don't see. So it's like I feel so. Here's the problem with the films. It's like, can they deny how bad things have gotten when things like Star Wars bomb at a box office? Like, do you think that the female Rey movie? I mean, I'm assuming it's Star Wars. It's a movie. People will show up just based on that. And if it doesn't stink enough, like if it's like the trailers and stuff show you enough in a movie, but at some point after Acolyte, Skeleton Crew, more TV stuff, that movie finally comes out. I assume Ahsoka and I'm assuming the Mandalorian Grogu movie will also be out by then, as well as Ahsoka season 2. Are you just there's not Star Wars fatigue by then? They're not just sick of it? Like I can't imagine this stuff. It's just done. All these toys are in Ollie's. No one bought them. No one's buying them. There's just no buzz of any of that kind of stuff. Only thing that people want to talk about are prequel stuff and the OT stuff. Really, the prequel stuff. The prequel stuff has really kind of gotten a rebirth because that's the 20-year rule, right? It's been the 20 years. They're just now 20 years for Revenge of the Sith, things like that. So I think the 20-year rule has driven some buzz around the prequel stuff. And that's what we're seeing with Star Wars. And all the rest of this, nobody cares, in my opinion. So anyway, that's my take on it. Love to hear from you guys. And we'll talk about it for sure.